you go. And then that brings us to the rise of all-female bands.
Yes, this is the current trend in Japan, the current big trend that's in Japan, and is starting to reach the rest of the world. They call it the girls metal band boom. Surge in popularity here. This is the last several years, and someone that you probably have heard of in the last several years, Baby Metal. Anyone heard of them? I know some old, like 70-year-old women who are posting them on their social networks, so apparently everyone knows about them. It is interesting. Okay. The surge in popularity comes because they look great, they're weird juxtapositions, and they get international fame. And if you look at a lot of Western media on this topic, they'll say Baby Metal started it all and it's doing all this stuff. But now you're going to know Western media are liars or just don't know what they're talking about. Yes. And here you go with some research.
There we go. Okay, so Shoya, one of the big ones.
Yeah. We're going to travel back first to look at the roots.
Now, it started in 1981.
Again, that magic year. Remember, everyone starts in 1981, including all-female metal bands.
And they're possibly the first all-female metal band to gain attention.
Yeah, and they're formed to play another Yamaha contest where this time the prize is a record deal. And after they get that record deal, they start going big, but they start out actually more in hard rock. And funnily enough, they make a Coca-Cola commercial. And everyone really likes this Coca-Cola commercial.
And if you look at music in Japan, it is not considered selling out per se. If you are doing advertising at the height of your popularity, it's just kind of a way to get yourself out there.
Yeah. Afterwards, they do have some lineup changes, and they solidify it, and they end up with 3 members named Miki. All get stage names to differentiate, so you're not just talking about Miki. So you end up with Captain, Sungo, and Mita.
Very interesting nicknames from Miki. Yeah.
They first released an album in 1985, The Masquerade Show. Their popularity increases, and they meet this guy, Yasushi Akimoto, who just made an idol band and started getting idol groups big. And you might be wondering, does that influence their sound? Maybe a little bit, but not as much as you would think. It does open doors, though. This guy knows how to put a band out in front of people. They start playing bigger and bigger venues. And by 1989, their album Outer Limits releases and goes platinum in Japan. There are very few metal bands of any of them that have gone platinum for any record at all. They do in 1989. They do start getting attention in the US, particularly in the LA area. They move there, they try and build that up. There's a lot of big bands there, like people from LA Guns that see them like, oh man, these guys are going to be hard to stop. They're just awesome, they kick ass. 1991 though, while they're trying to do this, they switch singers. One, because Kaiko Terada, who was their singer, says, I don't like the direction we're going, we're trying to appeal too much to the mainstream. So she dips out. They replace with a Japanese American so that she can speak English better, again, to appeal to this big market. In 1991 though, that's probably a bad year to try and break into the market. Yeah. But something, while that doesn't work out very well, they play North Korea.
That's pretty exclusive territory. That's all I'm saying. It's not easy to get into that market.
Yeah, from what I understand, this started out as a joke on some kind of talk show in Japan. They said, hey, what if we sent a rock band to North Korea? Wouldn't that be just hilarious? And everyone thought that idea was great. And
kind of like when Vice was like, hey, let's send a basketball player to North Korea. And
they sent Dennis Rodman.
They loved the jokes.
Yeah, and there was this big friendship concert between Japan, South Korea, and North Korea in 1991. And they sent Shoya. South Korea sends a traditional Korean folk band or something. They sent Shoya. And it's the first exposure that North Korea had to any kind of rock or metal music. And I hear they didn't know what to do. They're like, what the hell's going on?
We move our heads? No, stand silent.
Yeah. But they end up disbanding in 1998, but they reunite as well. They're another band that reunites with Kiko Terada again in 2005. In the 80s though, following their rise, a lot of big female metal bands also come up. They start that trend back in the 80s, and we see with them coming back, there's another trend coming up, which is what we're talking about right now. But here's some of them. Now, if some of that opening riff sounded a little bit like Back in the Village by Iron Maiden, you're not crazy, because I agree with you. Some of the other big things that they do though, which is very important. So, they start a concert, annual concert, where they showcase just female, all female metal bands. So they're getting everyone else out there. That's why the trend really is able to take off, because they do that. And they revived that, I believe, in like 2007 after they come back.
So during the metal revival again.
Yeah, well, and also right before the all-female, the girls' big band, whatever.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
I think not.
I don't either.
So one of the next big bands of this movement is Aldious.
Yeah, this may be the band that really starts it off in this new era. After Shoya's back, right, this band comes up, and they're really the ones credited with kickstarting the more recent rise of the all-female metal band. Not baby metal, although baby metal is big getting it internationally.
But these guys formed in 2008, or these girls I should say, formed in 2008 with a unique image and a mix of sorts.
Yeah, the idea is a style like Visual Kai, but they call it a Giha Kai. This bases off of Koakuma Agiha magazines, which feature outfits from hostess clubs. Does anyone know what hostess clubs are like in Japan? Okay, that's where you can go and you meet a woman dressed in fine evening dresses, a little sexy, and you can talk to her and have drinks with her as much as you like.
After you while paying her.
Yes, while paying her and well, I guess you're paying for her food too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what their style is based off of. And so they're kind of doing this idol thing, but with a kind of mature edge. There's some interesting connotations with hostess clubs, as you can imagine.
So they released their first song in 2008.
Yeah.
Then in 2009 they released their first EP, which was self-released actually. We're seeing another trend of these self-released titles, which is mind-blowing, especially for the music industry.
Again, they're in Osaka, I'm just saying. They do form their own label. A lot of bands do this. I think they've actually formed 2 or 3 labels now, because that's what they like to
compete
do.
with yourself, right?
And both of their first releases, from 2010, Defendant Desire, and their single, and Deep in Sea, make the Oricon charts. It's a big deal. They made some great success with their next couple albums, and their DVDs. Their visuals are a big deal. They like to sell that in their DVDs. They also take a card from idols. Literally, they have cards, collectible cards, when you buy their albums. But you don't know which card you're going to get. So if you want them all, you have to get 7 or something.
That's why they have picture swaps.
Well, hopefully you get that. However, if you're like me, you're lucky and you get Rami the first time, just saying. Yeah. But their popularity has continued to build since they had a change. So Rami is my favorite member. But she leaves. She leaves in 2012 due to some health issues, which we think are actually health issues, even though that's usually a code word for we don't like each other. But she's replaced with Reno, who used to do pop music. Does that sound bad? Well, other people still like her. I'm just saying there might be something bad going on there. People like it. All 20 releases that they've had since, though, are make their Oricon charts. Live albums continue to make high in the top 10. Do we want to hear them?
I think we should hear a little bit.
Should we hear it from Rami, though?
Let's do it with Rami.
Well, before we do that, this is Rami. As you can see, these are some of their evening dresses. In the top right is when their Rami era, and then bottom left is with Reno. And they're playing some thrashy power metal.
Yeah.
So pretty cool there.
And then that brings us to probably one of the, not probably the biggest
Well, the one that,
genre right now.
at least outside of Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, outside of Japan.
And that's Baby Metal, and they formed in 2010.
And they're mostly out of 3 members of the pop idol group Sakura Gakuen. They're trying to do a metal and pop idol fusion. I think they actually kind of fall a little bit more on the pop side, maybe more than a little bit.
I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah. But they do play strongly on the Japanese love of strange juxtaposition and unexpected things put together. They do mostly just the girl idol vocals, that's the main thing that they focus, but they do have a backing band that does metal background music. They don't get a lot of focus, but maybe they should. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But I mean, all together you have the idol girls, the focus vocalists, and then the instruments.
Yeah. They've, as we said, they've achieved some quick attention. Old ladies in the US post them on their Facebook. Why not?
Yeah.
Right.
And another one is Boxx, and they formed in 2012. We got some fans over here.
Yeah. Yeah. These guys are awesome. They're, again, another all-female band. That was a side project combining the entire all-female rock band, Gacharic Spin, who does kind of like funk, rock, bunch of random stuff actually they do, with Fuki from a million bands, but at the time biggest was Lightbringer, a big metal band. They're also sometimes called part of Kawaii metal, which is what people say baby metal made, but honestly, I don't really think that it fits them. They do play on strange juxtaposition again. A lot of their songs have these weird elements, but also visuals. They have a music video for everything, and it's always like weird visuals to put together. They like to do a lot of different things. Not necessarily a fully metal band either. Again, they're a funk band with a metal singer. They come together and say, well, let's do kind of metal, and they'll do whatever the hell they want. That's what Boxx does. They don't have very many releases. They've done 2 mini albums, but the impact those have had has been huge. And actually, I think the second one just came out this year, and everyone is excited about it in the metal world. I don't know why they're as popular in the metal world, but other than that, they kick ass.
Well, that makes you popular usually.
Yeah, and I guess we'll finish off actually showing some of that fun times that they do. Maybe? No, it's alright. Well, actually, do our acknowledgements, but I'll show that video. You want to acknowledge, these are the people that helped us out. JP Metal, if you're into a lot more Japanese metal, they have a great forum and wiki. Hatsu Honda helped us a lot. He's written a lot about Japanese metal in the history, and he actually gave us some photos. Metal Archives, a lot of our stuff's taken there. You can find us, much from my face.
Yeah, we do our own little YouTube show there.
Not actually as much about metal, but hey, you can check us out.
At all. But he's on it, and he's pretty metal, so.
But let us get you guys into Boxx. Who has heard of Boxx before?
We got some people.
You want to get some questions?
Yeah. Any questions while we wait for him to bring up Boxx?
No.
We were way too thorough with our presentation. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And I'm a late boomer, so I was curious and hated metal and all that stuff. The current generations of persons, you see, I guess, less interest in the music than my generation, I guess. Is that right?
It seems to be shifting. I mean, we had in the 2000s kind of a revival of some of that interest in metal. So we're starting to see it kind of evolve back into, it's becoming a new trend. You know, it's kind of like all these things that went away in the 90s when grunge really came up. But we are starting to see that come back, and you know, it was really kickstarted by the big three coming back. You know, Ozzy, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest all kind of reuniting, and then that kind of spurred what was also going on in Japan at the time. So I'd say it's definitely becoming more popular than it was on the, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s. I mean, I'm a 90s baby myself, so metal wasn't really on my radar until I got older. So I do see it starting to become more popular.
So my friend noticed when he was driving the van, the punk scene
Punk scene is pretty huge there. And they've also had a lot of influence on the metal scene, honestly, and we can see it all over the place. In general, new wave of British heavy metal is pretty influenced by punk in general, and you get a lot of that sound in Japan.
this one.
Yeah. But speaking of late bloomer, so if you're familiar with Christopher Lee, you know, one of the biggest actors of all time, he decided he was metal in his late 80s, and he's released some metal albums himself before he died. He helped out a band called Rhapsody, and also I think he helped out Manowar doing narration for their stuff, and also sang duets with Rhapsody. And then he's like, hey, I'm gonna make some power metal song albums about Charlemagne.
Hey, you know, he's a pretty metal guy from the 18th century, right?
Yeah, and he said, like, I've always been metal, I just never knew it.
Actually, the few ones I've seen were pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, here's some Boxx. Sorry.
ごめんなさい。こんな悲しい方で。
よろしくお願いします。みんな、こんばんは。あなたのハートを箱詰めしちゃうドールズボックスです。よろしくお願いします。お願いします。それでは私たちの歌聴いてください。せーの。Take my chance! 愛がないなら
But that was our presentation. Thank you all for showing up.